New videos every day. Life, wisdom.
I'm Psyche Truth correspondent Corrina Rachel. Today on the Truth Talks, we're talking about the habits that make people miserable. Before I get started, I want to know what you think is your worst habit. What is something that you do even though you know it probably isn't good for you or doesn't make you happy, but you do it anyway? I'm talking today with Beth McCall Whitley. She is a holistic nutritionist and author based in Austin, Texas. And today we are going to count down some of the worst habits that are making people miserable. Thank you so much for joining me today. So in your book, Essential Nourishment, you actually have an entire section on happiness where you give 24 different recommendations of things that people can do to make themselves more happy. But in this video, I kind of want to look at it from a different angle and tackle the habits that are making people miserable and then offering some solutions on what they can do to get out of those habits. So what would you say is the number one underlying cause of people being unhappy or unsatisfied in their lives?
I would say the number one cause of people being unhappy or unsatisfied is their beliefs about themselves. They have very negative beliefs about themselves. They're giving themselves negative self-talk every day. And a lot of that's largely due to the media and based on, what you should be doing or eating or what you should look like, especially. So a lot of people, are really, down on themselves and therefore unhappy. And so one of the reasons I titled my book Essential Nourishment is not only do we need to feed our bodies good food, but we need to take care of the part of ourselves. We need to balance it with being happy, because a lot of the issues that people do have with weight or depression or anything, there's always an underlying cause causing that, and that needs to be addressed first and foremost. So, and the common thread really is people are unhappy, mostly with themselves.
Right.
So that's the common denominator that I've seen.
So in terms of thinking about negative self-talk, that's like when you're saying, I'm too fat, or I'm too lazy, or I'm not good enough.
Exactly. And people need to start loving themselves. And that's not an easy thing to do. And what I generally recommend is, there's no one answer for everybody, but stop giving yourself those messages, for one thing. Start appreciating the good things about yourself, and maybe write this down and focus on all the good qualities that you have. We all have good qualities, and we all have qualities that, are less than desirable. But we're all human beings, and just embrace our humanness. Mm-hmm. And, read positive things. There's so much negativity in the news. There's so many negative things out there. So, find something that speaks to you, or someone that you like to read, some practical advice. There's so many good things out there right now. For example, Deepak Chopra or Mike Dooley, they have a lot of really positive messages out there. So start exposing yourself more to positive things and looking at yourself in the mirror. And Louise Hay is another great author who has a book called How You Can Heal Your Life, and she addresses that issue in great detail. So I would recommend starting.
Right. So maybe this first habit is having a lot of negative self-talk, having really negative feelings about yourself, maybe to the point that you don't even realize it. I know that maybe the most difficult thing about it is that we get so used to kind of thinking this way about ourselves and kind of, really talking pretty badly to ourselves that we don't even realize it. And then we have the media coming in with all these different messages trying to get us to buy things we don't need or feel like we need to look this way. And yeah, it contributes to
Exactly. The first step would be some self-awareness. I mean, just start to be aware of your thoughts and what you're saying to yourself every day. And that's not easy to do because they're just like a tape player in there.
Right.
And we're hearing messages, from our parents, from when we were kids, and, maybe you're stupid, or, not positive messages, or people can be very judgmental. And so we're always worried about what other people think. So just to develop a self-awareness of what you think about yourself and start paying attention to the thoughts that you're thinking.
Okay, that's wonderful. So let's go on to a second habit. What would you say is another habit that people need to break in order to be happy?
I would say another habit would be people resist change a lot. And I was guilty of that for me, and still to a degree. It's always something, we're always a work in progress, I think. Nobody's perfect. Mm-hmm. But to embrace change more, people get stuck in the way they think things should be, and they're resistant to any kind of new information or open to something being different than it has been. Like, for example, somebody might have a lot of stress about this is what we do every year at Christmas, and this is the way it has to be, instead of being open to other possibilities. So just being open to change and know that, life is always changing. And the more we resist it, the unhappier we're going to be, the more we can accept what is, the happier we will be. And I think people need help with that. And that's why I recommend reading. Find some things, spiritual readings, not necessarily religious, but things that motivate you, that are positive, that give positive messages.
Okay, so is there another habit that people have that make them miserable?
Well, what's something
we can go through any of these. Appreciate what you have right now.
That's a big one. That's a really big one. And I often, what I do is personally is I've gotten out of the habit, but I'm starting to get back in the habit of writing a list every night of things that I'm thankful for that day. Mm-hmm. And they could be small things, small things, big things, thankful, I had healthy food today, thankful I saw that child playing in the park, thankful for my puppy. I mean, thankful for my health, thankful I'm able to pay my bills this month. I mean, it could be anything. Right. But just appreciating really what you have. And when people start to write down what they're thankful for, they can see all the good things in their life. And it's a more positive message than focusing on what's not working. Right. You focus on what is working. Right. Because where you put your attention is what's going to grow. That's what I've learned. And so if people are always thinking negative thoughts, they're attracting more negativity. And if you're starting, can change your thinking about things, you're going to be attracting better things into your life.
So in terms of the bad habit, I think maybe the bad habit is being ungrateful.
Yes.
And kind of constantly being focused on all the things that are wrong and all the things that are bad in our lives. Exactly.
And then that's causing people to, like you said, I should look like that, so I'm going to go buy this product so I can look like that. And none of those things really work. It has to come from inside. There's no thing you can put on your skin, and there's always going to be something else. I mean, that's the other thing people have to realize, like, you're never done.
Right.
So the sooner you can embrace your imperfections and focus on your positive attributes, the more fully you can, be happy and reach your goals. And like I said, one of the, there's such an imbalance of that. People think, well, if I just go on this diet and lose this weight, I'll be happy. Or if I can just, get my nose fixed, I'll be happy.
Right.
And none of those things really bring happiness, because there's always going to be something else. I mean, it's something inside you. You have to be happy with yourself.
So let's see. Number 15 is forgive yourself. And I know a lot of people that are constantly hard on themselves, and maybe there's a lot of shame, or they just, are just constantly being down on themselves. That's probably a pretty negative habit, huh?
It is, and that's a really big one, and I'm glad you mentioned that one, because it is really important to forgive yourself. We all make mistakes. I mean, that's part of life. I mean, there's no other way to get through life without making mistakes. That's how we learn. Mm-hmm. So it's important to recognize that and know that nobody's perfect, and know that you won't do that the next time. So to learn from your mistakes, but also know that you're always going to be making new mistakes. That's just life. And to not constantly beat yourself up about that and be down on yourself about that, and just just try to have integrity and be the best person you can be, and there will be mistakes along the way. And,
Right.
hopefully nothing too bad, but I think as we get older, hopefully, gain some wisdom and recognize that we're perfect in our imperfection.
Okay, what about number 22, connecting with others?
That's an important one too. A lot of people become a little bit isolated. They're unhappy and they seclude themselves and they think I'm not pretty enough to be, good enough or smart enough or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So they stop going out, they stop seeking social connections. And what I have found, and I've been guilty of that myself, certainly. What I have found is the more you can connect with other people, the more you know you're not alone, that other people share these very same issues, Everybody shares these same issues at the core level. Right. And to just make those social connections and really fosters a sense of connection with each other in the world and fosters happiness. I mean, it's people who are isolated are really very unhappy and lonely. Mm-hmm. So just, making connections.
And I think that, there is within that tendency to kind of isolate or feel nervous in social situations or uncomfortable and things like that. And those are feelings that I feel all the time. Mm-hmm. And I have to kind of give myself a pep talk. Yes. Corrina, just go out. Once you go out, you're going to have fun. You know that you're going to find someone to talk to and have a good time. But those feelings of isolation, they really are kind of self-perpetuating. Mm-hmm. And you really kind of can come into a place where you do end up becoming, so resistant to social situations and connecting with other people. I think that really can be a true source of our own misery, almost self-inflicted.
Yes, it really can be. And I read something once that said if you're feeling, isolated, even if you just go to the grocery store, just go where other people are, even if you're not going to interact. Just go where other people are, just to know that you're not alone. And just be aware of that. And sometimes counseling is in order, if there's, an issue, if some people do get so bad they don't want to leave their house, or they're so self-conscious, or they're so worried about what other people think, sometimes counseling can really help with that. And I would recommend people seek that help so as not to be miserable. I mean, we all just want to be happy.
Okay, so as a little closing thought, there was something, and it's actually right at the beginning of the book, it's on page 2, that really kind of struck me. Our bodies need nourishment from food that's good for us and exercise to keep us strong. And we discussed that in our previous videos. We have several videos where we talked about nutrition. Our minds need nourishment from positive messages and thinking good thoughts. We covered that. And our souls need nourishment from finding happiness through discovering and fulfilling our purpose and connecting with others. So maybe you can kind of talk a little bit about fulfilling our purpose.
Yes. Well, I think our purpose here is to be happy. I think, we're not here to, it's not like you have to save the world or come up with a magic cure for cancer or anything like that. But find what your passion is, and everybody's is different. I mean, if you love to paint, then paint. Don't keep putting it off or wait till you have hours at a time. Start painting today, even if it's just for 5 minutes. If there's something you love to do, just start doing that thing. And then things will start to flow. And the more you do the things that you love, the happier you will be. And the more flow that you will have and things fall into place. But so many people get really busy in their lives. They're very stressed out with their job and they don't make time for the things that really feed their soul. And they really need to make that a priority, whatever it is. If it's writing, if it's reading, if it's, whatever it is, make time to do the thing that you love.
And we've actually discussed that a lot on our channel. I did a video called How to Find Your Passion. Oh, good. And it just kind of goes through these different ideas about how if you're someone who feels like there's nothing that you're really interested in, there's nothing you really like to do, it kind of offers some solutions on how you might be able to find that thing.
Yes.
And I know, for myself personally, finding the things I'm really passionate about, which is helping people with nutrition and music as well, those things really are at the root of my happiness and my being content. And I know if I didn't have those things and I didn't feel that I was fulfilling this, kind of purpose that I, really feel fulfilled by and really have a lot of passion for, I wouldn't be the person that I am, and I wouldn't be as happy as I am.
Exactly. And people sort of have it, backwards. They think, well, when I do this, I'll be happy. When I have this, I'll be happy. And when I have time, I'll do that, and then, but if they make time right now, they'll find that they're already happy and other things start to fall into place. And it's just a natural progression. And that's, one of the reasons I wrote this book is I lost sight of that for many years of my life. I was a busy, overstressed, mom, and did not make time for myself and do the things that I love to do. And I was always busy, and there are a lot of people like that helping everybody else, signing up on all these committees and just not, we've been taught it's selfish to take care of ourselves and do what feeds us. And it is not selfish. It is essential. You have got to nourish your soul. So that's one of the reasons I put that in the book.
Right. So maybe another one of these bad habits is just not taking care of ourselves, being too busy and always putting things off.
Yes.
Always, I kind of love what you referenced there. Oh, when I have this, I'll be happy. Or when I have time, I'll do this and then I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Rather than going, you know what? I have this moment right now.
Yes.
What can I do right now?
Exactly.
And stop putting it off.
That's right.
Excellent. Well, thank you so very much for joining me today. And thank you for joining us. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you would like to learn more, or if you want to hear the rest of these 24 tips on happiness, then I highly recommend that you pick up Beth's book, Essential Nourishment. There is a link in the description of this video where you can purchase it on Amazon. And I hope that you will leave your comments, leave your questions or topic requests. Please be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the Psyche Truth channel so you can see all of our future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.